So anyways, you're down there. Is that where you're roping these Mavericks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tell me about that. Because I don't know if you know, but I've been to Arizona.
I never heard that.
So I'm kind of pretty good cowboy.
Connoisseur of catching wild feral cattle.
I'm a little bit of a legend out there.
I bet that's right.
So just ask around. Everybody else.
Hopefully we can make the finals this fall and run into Whip Peterson, and I'll ask him.
Yeah, ask him. Whip Pop Peterson.
That dude is ropey.
Whip Pop.
The Maverick deal. So like inventory management's like probably one of the toughest things about South Texas, just because it is so brushy.
Mm-hmm.
You can't like get a crew to go gather at horseback. But like, I mean, you found out in Arizona, there's a difference between like spoiled cattle and wild cattle.
Yeah.
Right. Wild meaning like feral, like never been in a set of pens.
Right.
Ever. And just due to the way East was managed for so long that way, like I even heard when Robert East bought that ranch on the coast, like he turned a bunch of cattle out and it started raining and they didn't go back for 3 years. Because why? It's raining. They got grass and water. Why go back? And so they got wild there, and that's just part of the deal. Like, gathering them twice a year. You'd follow the helicopters. You know, it'd be a 2-week working on that ranch on the coast at Port Mansfield. And I didn't know what I was getting into the first time I went. I just heard stories. And really, the helicopters, they would get up in first light, I guess, once they started flying. Once they got to the backside, they couldn't fly some of that brush because it was so thick. Like, there's some live oaks that grew, and like under the live oaks was like other generations of scrub brush, and like they just couldn't get anything done. And so the goal was the helicopters just got up there and fought those Maverick cattle from getting back into those oaks, and held on to them long enough for us to get them caught, just to start cleaning the deal up. But yeah, there's that. The first time, you know, Fritz always had his radio and could talk to the pilots. There was always 2 helicopters flying. And I was just following Fritz. Like, whatever he did, that's what we were going to do. And those helicopters were working, fighting stuff back, and I could hear chatter and whatever. And, like, finally, like, we unload, kind of cinch up. Nobody's built the loop yet. We start loping back to the sand dunes. And because like this ranch is on the east fence is the water, and so like you have all that generations of sand blowing in. It's real duney, and it gets kind of open where those dunes have pushed through and like cleared brush, and we're just waiting, and those choppers are working back and forth, and then like they start talking a lot more, and like Fritz gets off, pulls tight. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna get off, I pull tight, and he's just sitting there talking, whatever, and like those choppers are getting closer and closer and closer, and then he ties his horn knot onto his saddle horn, builds his loop, which all of them are 40 foot tied off on the very end.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there talking. Those choppers are getting pretty close. Like, you can see other cattle like going right, but the chopper's over here by us, and it's like this big flat. And then like those choppers, like one of them that was fighting whatever it was, like I have no idea what it is. It like disappears below the sand dune that we're hiding behind. And Fritz just like real calm, just turned around and he goes, start with the big ones. And that was it. And then before that chopper ever come back up, a band of Maverick bulls tops out over that sand dune. And like, I don't know, 6 or 8 of them.
68 of them?
68 Maverick bulls.
So many Mavericks.
And there's only 6 of us.
And y'all caught all of them.
With 1 loop each.
That's Texas Cowboys right there.
1 loop each. We roped them all. But no, it was cool. Just every man for himself.
How big were they?
They're all like breeding age bulls, like
dang
3, 4 and up. A lot of them were like big 6-year-old bulls that just knew how to play the game. And that was fun. I mean, there's some guys there that weren't there by the time I left, like Fritz Linney, Cody Parr, Gilly was there with us. But guys that still work there, Cesar Salinas, Timo Rodriguez and his brother Miguel Rodriguez, and then me. And it's just every man for himself. And then like we had a guy with a tractor with a 3-point hitch with a trailer hitch on it, and he would follow us with a stock trailer. It was just a tractor because he could get through the sand, and with a electric winch on the front of it. And there was 2 guys on that rig, and they would just follow us, and we'd tie something down, and they'd pull up. I bumped your mic. They'd pull up and load them, and then hang our tie strings down there. They're tie ropes. Hang their tie ropes on the trailer, and we'd rope until we run out. Find the trailer, lope back, get our tie strings back, go back to it until we kind of got out of that area, and the cattle that were going to go went on. And obviously a bunch of them, I mean, we kept messing them, like, or they beat the helicopters or whatever, you know, like if there was an 8-year-old, they were going to stay with him and let the 2-year-old go if they had to pick one, just because, like, there wasn't enough of us. But there was a lot of that. But even before I got there, I mean, I heard stories about how much worse it was. Like in 2007, when it got transferred from the Robert East family to the estate after he passed, I mean, I heard of, like, sometimes they would, like, there's a ranch, it's the Buena Vista Ranch, part of East Foundation. It's kind of landlocked behind some bigger ranches. Like the first time they flew it, like they had like 1,500 Mavericks.
Golly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Charles Short started flying for them first, and he said Robert East did not want to start flying because, I mean, it's just changed, you know how it is. And the first time they flew that El Sal's Ranch in Port Mansfield, they literally ran out of room. Like, they filled the water lots and the pens up and closed the gates and had cattle outside still. I mean, that's just the problem. Like, it was like, well, we have 1,000 head on the books. Well, you just threw 2,000 head in the pens, and there's just as many outside.
So how long, like, how often were you guys out there catching Maverick? Just like every day for however long?
Yeah, so like when I was an intern, that's like what we did. So even without flying, we only flew for like the big roundups. But throughout the year, like Timo Miguel, the brothers, which they have a really cool story too, but like Timo would go out and trap cattle every night just to clean the place up. And so like that's what we did. We'd all meet for breakfast at the kitchen in the morning, and we'd figure out who all trapped what where, and then go get them. And a lot of times you had to rope them out of the traps, or they jumped out. You went and caught them.
That sounds like so much fun. That sounds like the coolest thing.
It was fun for a while, and then you got pretty tired of it.
Why? Just kind of like how like doctoring yearlings is fun for a while, and then you get tired of it.
Yeah, and then you start wanting to have like a cow herd you can do something with.
Right. The management side gets a little.
They used to have, instead of using trap gates, help me on this, but used to, I think back in the day, they would have kids go sit up in the tree next to a trap, because like at King Ranch, all the windmills and dirt tanks, you have to have a trap around it. Like they've all got to have a trap and like a loadout and stuff. But used to, they wouldn't use like trap gates or anything, and they would have a kid sit up in a tree and like take him a lunch or something, and would sit up in that tree all night, all day long, and wait for him to walk in the water, and then he'd run down there and shut the gate. Yeah, yeah, for
Seriously.
real.
Timo was still doing that when I got there. Dang. Like those cattle were wild. I went with him before.
Yeah.
And like, ride at dark.
If they're that wild, what'd the traps look like?
Well,
because it would take more than a wire lot, right?
No, they were, but not at.
They'd be broke to a fence.
Well, no, but at East, those traps had been there so long that all that brush had grown through them, and it was just like a wall of brush. Like if they wanted it, like if you went after them horseback, like they'd find a hole.
Yeah.
But if you're quick enough or like set them up right, you could at least get them from the trap into the pens.
Right.
But like Timo, when he would try to trap cattle that way, when I first got there, like those cattle, you could hear them bawling like they're coming into water right at dark, and like they would get to that gate and stop, and you could hear them like hit the chain, and like as they're smelling the chain from the gate, and like if they smelled you, they wouldn't even come in and get water. They'd leave.
Dang. Like a deer.
Yeah. I mean, I made a joke when I got there because the deer were gentle at East. And I said, the cattle are literally wilder than the deer here. And like, yeah.
Yeah.
But Zach was talking about the trap gates. And like, I think Derek uses them too. Like, I don't know what he calls them, but like, you put a 10-foot hole in your fence and take a 14-foot gate and cut it in half and hinge it on each side. and you make a funnel. Did you ever see him, or did you ever talk about him?
I've seen it in Snapchats. I mean, Derek and I, we're best friends. So, we talk about everything. But I just...
Except for trap gates.
Except for trap gates.
Except for trap
Because y'all were roping them. Who needs trap gates when you can catch them?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm either throwing a loop or,
Mugging them.
Mugging them.
No, I've just seen it on the Snapchats.
Yeah, so they're just like that funnel with a spring on top of them. And you may use T-posts or whatever on the outside to, like, say you keep them open, like 3 foot wide for a while and get those cattle making a really good trail going in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then once you're ready to start trapping them, you can close those gates, and it's got that funnel where you have that spring where they can push in and it gives.
Mm-hmm.
But once they get through it, it closes back a little bit.
Yeah.
And so they can't push out. And so once we started using those, like, we really were able to start cleaning a bunch of stuff up.
I mean, what's it like there today? Like, are they cleaned off by now? Oh, they are.
Yep. I mean, there might be like a long yearling every now and then.
But it's not going to be like
There's
hundreds of, yeah.
No. I think, unless they've done it since I left, but I roped the last 2 Maverick cows on the San Antonio Viejo Ranch. And when I did, it was kind of sad, like after we loaded her, because she was old.
Yeah.
I mean, like, had huge rings on the bases of her horns and, like.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, had that epiphany, like, that way of life is, like, over. Like, she beat all those other guys and, like, lived her life. And, like, there's poems about,
She
like.
didn't beat Zane Heron.
Zane Heron, because there's a helicopter. But, like, Andy Hedges has a poem about, like, old Maverick cow or something about guys that go to catch her and, like, never could. And then one guy finally has the jump on her and, like, pulls up because, like, why? Like, she deserves to die out here.
Baxter Black has a poem called "The Buckskin Mare."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like me and my dad could tell it together. If we were together, we could tell it, but it's like 15 minutes long. It's a super long poem, but anyway, it's about same kind of deal, wild horses. But anyhow, I won't spoil the ending. You have to look it up.
We'll Google it.
It meant a lot to us. That's maybe my biggest regret in life. He got me a buckskin mare later. And anyhow, one year I sold her. One year I should have never sold her, but that's my regret, is selling that mare. Yeah. Anyway,
I have a buckskin gelding that was special to me, and I sold him. Regretted it, and I got him back. I still have him. He's gonna die with me.
Yeah, this one's probably dead by now. It's a long time.